Hello everybody, I am the Black Sigma, or you could just call me Eric. And Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. Ma'am. 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 You have said something that is so much more obvious than the nonsense you did in the last episode. The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. Does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it? So if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy? In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness. Ms. Skye. Ms. Skye? I believe I mean Ms. Star. Oops, I accidentally, went past it. But, there's an objection in order. God, I forget this testimony is only 4 statements long. 1, 2, 3. Present. Autopsy report. K. Go. You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Ms. Star. Huh? What do you mean? I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look at the evidence right presented. The autopsy report states the death was due to a loss of blood from 1 stab wound. Aha! You're right. Good show, Mr. Edgeworth. What a hunk. He's my hero, really. What about my objection? No one noticed? Well, witness? You got the crime scene set, right? Oh, thanks. I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now I realize that such mistakes are possible. So, you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed at him at least twice. Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify. Her red muffler. Her red muffler. Now, I believe she does own one. I think she's referring to, the scarf as a muffler. But, she sure ain't wearing her muffler in this photo. Ms. Star, I demand an explanation. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work. What? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. Edgeworth, you're doing my job for me. Look, Edgeworth, I know that you are on the side of truth and justice and not just getting a guilty verdict. But stop stealing my objections. You've proved it yourself with this photograph. Huh? But that can't be. Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations. Perhaps you've finally found your true calling in life. Harsh words, but good. In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. What was my objection? Chopped liver? But it was there. A scarf. No, not that, but something red, really. Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business. What? Very well, witness, continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that. Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least. Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. The most important part? The part where your sister stabs the victim? This next testimony might just be the moment of truth. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile. You're quite determined about this scarf, aren't you? I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Star. That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake. Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten. No thanks. Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. An oil drum? Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr. Very well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination if you will. Well, that's funny. After the murder, attempted to run behind the partition. You quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. That's kind of funny, weren't you on the other side of a fence? On pressing, she clearly states how close she was to the suspect. 30 feet. I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. Where were you? The Lunchland car was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So you witnessed the murder from here? That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes. Is that correct, Ms. Starr? Yes, that's right. But there was a chain link fence in front of you. I went over it, of course. Amazing. The cough-up queen lunch lady. Athlete. Quite... what were the words I just read? It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. So how did Ms. Sky not get away? Huh. So pressing about where she heard mention of the muffler, it was apparently something she said on her phone. Let the record show that Ms. Sky said nothing over the phone before hanging up. You mean this one, discovered at the crime scene? Memory is like a salmon heading upstream. First attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. That's right, near the car. Emergency phone on the wall. Apparently it was out of order, so she used her cell phone. Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day. Good witnessing, witness. What? Add it to the testimony? The word muffler was overheard. The word muffler was overheard. That won't be important for this part of the trial, because what's wrong with her statement here is the fact the phone was on the other side of the partition, the actual wall, and she was behind the chain link fence having to climb over it. There's no way she would have... Oops, I accidentally pressed it. Oh. Yep, Chief Prosecutor stabbed the victim, ran behind the partition, picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order, pulled out her phone, and then you came around to catch her? And when you grabbed her arm, Chief Prosecutor hung up the phone. You saw her doing this. Yeah, no, you did not. But, more to the point that I was saying earlier, the detail about hearing the word muffler over the phone. Even if Lana did say that, she wasn't talking about her scarf. She was talking about a car. Also, I just pressed the wrong bumper button. I am an idiot. But yes, the word muffler was about the only thing Lana could get out, because again, that phone call supposedly lasted literally 2 seconds. Why would she mention a muffler? She meant the muffler of a car. She was trying to tell Emma to check the muffler of the car. But, that's not what's important right now. Ma'am, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Ms. Lana Skye. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago. Well, Ms. Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up. Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Ms. Skye making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it. Order, order. What is the meaning of this? Simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch, she's coughing up lies. Gah. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question. Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. Can't afford to get this wrong. You know what? I think this is a Mr. Sword situation. Remember how he claimed to have heard the time, then have seen the time, and back and forth when he was telling the truth about his first statement that he heard the time with the alarm clock, with the thinker clock, and that was the whole unraveling. I think that she is not lying about what she saw. It has to be where she saw it, or the order of events. And based on the time at which Lana did call her sister, it has to be where. Ms. Sky tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it'd be pointless for Ms. Star to lie about it. Pointless to lie, I see. But say the witness did actually see Ms. Sky using the emergency phone. It would mean Ms. Star witnessed the crime from a different location. A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard one. Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? Well, she saw the murder, saw Lana run across and up to the telephone. No. She could have seen it from somewhere down here, but she would have instantly tackled Lana. She was delivering a boxed lunch to her boyfriend, the security guard, who has a room on the second floor, which is higher than this partition, allowing visibility to the car and visibility to the phone, without her immediately stopping the crime, but having to run downstairs and tackle Lana.
Take that!
This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room. Indeed, the security room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It is built on the second floor so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime and the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Ms. Starr? How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today, a man has got the better of Angel Starr. Order, order. Witness? What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better. I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished, and I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails. The guilty? Is she talking about Ms. Sky? Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Ms. Starr lie? It doesn't make sense. Huh? She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything. Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. That truth still stands. Why would she lie about being in the security booth? To say she was the one who took that photo. She can't have been the one to take that photo if the theory of her being in the security booth is correct. Still stands? I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason. So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright. Huh? Me? Who else? Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Miss Starr witnessed the crime from up there, lied and said she was over there. It must make a vital difference, but what? What would change? The distance to the crime? Changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see. What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. Ms. Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Ms. Skye? Well, witness, you... Yes. You ordered the squid wheels, right? The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible. I was bringing a PB&J lunch to my fresh boysenberry jam with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend. Boysenberry for the boyfriend. He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. And so you had to run all the way around to B, where you took that photo. That's quite a detour. It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime. 5 minutes? This changes things considerably. But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork. You have a point, and the spork is a wonderful invention. Would you like another caviar lunch? Absolutely. Uh-oh. Mr. Wright, you have to do something. Do I have any evidence to stop this? I'll see what I can do. 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You could make pasta in that amount of time, if you like it al dente. I've got lunchboxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie. A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange? If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea, I didn't kill anyone. But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run. But this time was different. Ms. Skye dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. Yeah. Well then, seems we've come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go? Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it! We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright. And was too close. Especially the first testimony of the trial. That was the only thing I had a problem with. I'm afraid the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, this court is adjourned. Hold it. Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right? That's the one she tried to foist off on me. I prefer to not take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence. What was that? Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes? My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Ms. Starr. Ah. Is this your jumbo lunchbox? Woohoo! Triple decker! Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence. Well, if Ms. Starr does in fact have decisive evidence, we'll hear about it in the next episode. Bye.